Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to kind of take a closer look at a genetic condition. It's found in dogs.
Yeah.
It's called hereditary sensory and autonomic neuropathy. You might know it as HSAN or acral mutilation syndrome. AMS.
Right.
AMS for short. We've got a fascinating research article here, and it digs into the genetic cause of this condition, specifically in German Spitz dogs.
Yeah, it's a condition that, can really impact a dog's quality of life. So understanding that root cause, that's crucial.
Absolutely. So maybe for folks who aren't as familiar, could you give us a little rundown of what HSANs is?
Sure. So HSANs, it's a group of rare genetic diseases.
Yeah.
And it affects the peripheral nervous system.
Okay.
And what happens is there's a loss of pain sensation, particularly in the extremities, like the paws.
Yeah.
And this can lead to dogs, injuring themselves without realizing it. And because they don't feel the pain, they might continue to lick, bite, and even chew at that area.
Oh, no.
Sometimes to the point of self-amputation of their digits.
Oh, that's gotta be just heartbreaking for everybody involved.
Exactly. And that's why this research is so important. The more we understand about the underlying genetics of this condition, the better equipped we are to diagnose it early, manage it effectively, and hopefully one day even prevent it.
Yeah, I was going to say, early diagnosis is key with so many of these things.
Absolutely.
So let's dive into the specifics of this research. It focuses on a case study. A 6-month-old German Spitz diagnosed with HSANs. Can you tell us about this case?
Yeah, so this German Spitz, it presented with a severely injured left hind paw.
Okay.
And the dog was constantly licking, biting at it, which, as we discussed, that's a classic sign of that lack of pain sensitivity that we see with HSANs.
Right.
And sadly, even with treatments like antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, pain medication, the condition, it progressed.
Oh.
And the dog actually had to have one of its digits amputated at 9 months old.
Wow.
And then had to wear protective gear to prevent further self-mutilation.
I can only imagine how difficult that must be to try and manage all of that.
It's a tough situation for sure.
Yeah. But it sounds like the researchers didn't stop at just documenting symptoms.
Right.
They wanted to investigate the genetic cause a little bit further.
They did. They used a really powerful tool. It's called whole genome sequencing, or WGS,
Okay.
to analyze the dog's DNA. And this allowed them to compare the dog's genetic code to that of other dogs and really pinpoint any unique variations that might be responsible for the condition.
That's incredible. So what did they find?
Well, they discovered a single candidate variant in a gene called RETREG1.
Okay.
And this variant, specifically a missense variant called C.656CT. Essentially, it means that one letter in the dog's DNA code, it was changed. And this change led to an alteration in the structure of the protein that the RETREG1 gene produces.
So one tiny change can have such a huge impact.
It can. It really highlights how even small genetic changes can have a big impact on an animal's health.
Could you tell us a little bit more about this RETREG1 gene and why is it so important?
Yeah, so RETREG1, it plays this vital role in the survival of neurons, specifically those responsible for pain sensation and autonomic functions.
Okay.
So when this gene is mutated, it disrupts the normal functioning of these neurons, and that leads to the symptoms that we see in HSANs.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, was this the first time that this particular variant was found?
Interestingly, no. This same variant had been previously identified in mixed breed dogs that also presented with similar symptoms.
Really?
So this suggested to the researchers that there might be a connection there, a shared genetic heritage between these seemingly unrelated dogs.
Wow. So a little mystery.
A bit of a genetic detective story.
Exactly. So they decided to dig a little deeper into the family history.
Right. They used a technique called haplotype analysis, which allows them to look for shared blocks of DNA, like tracing ancestry through these shared genetic markers.
Fascinating.
And this analysis suggested that the mixed-breed dogs and the German Spitz, they likely shared a common ancestor that carried this RETREG1 variant.
So it all kind of comes back
It does seem
to a common point. So to further strengthen this link, did they look anywhere else?
They did. They screened a large database of dog DNA, and they found that this variant was primarily present in dogs with German Spitz ancestry.
Oh, wow.
So it seems like this particular RETREG1 variant is strongly associated with HSANs in this specific breed.
That's a big finding.
It is.
And I understand that this research goes beyond just canines. It has potential implications for human health as well.
You're right. Mutations in the RETREG1 gene have also been linked to a form of HSAN in humans.
Really?
Specifically HSAN type IIB.
Wow.
And this highlights the the interconnectedness of animal and human health,
Yeah.
and how studying these spontaneous animal models can provide valuable insights into human diseases as well.
Yeah, they're more similar than we often think.
They are.
It's incredible how much we can learn from our furry companions.
Yeah.
This research not only sheds light on the cause of this debilitating condition in dogs, but also opens doors for understanding and potentially treating HSAN in humans.
That's the beauty of scientific inquiry. It often leads us down unexpected paths and reveals connections we might not have anticipated.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I'm curious to know more about the research methodology. Can you tell us a bit more about how the scientists arrived at their findings?
Sure. So they started by analyzing the whole genome sequences of the affected German Spitz, its mother, and 2 unrelated German Spitz dogs.
All right.
And they found over 6.5 million genetic variants in the affected dog.
That's a lot of data.
It is. It's a huge amount of information to sift through.
So how did they narrow it down to the culprit?
Well, they filtered the data based on several criteria. So they focused on variants that were present only in the affected dog,
Right.
inherited in a way that's consistent with a recessive condition, meaning that both parents need to carry the variant for the offspring to be affected,
Okay.
and located within genes that are known to be associated with sensory neuropathies.
Wow.
So this meticulous process left them with 8 variants,
Okay.
but only 1 truly stood out.
And that was the RETREG1 variant.
Exactly. This particular missense variant, the C.656CT, it caught their attention because it affected a highly conserved amino acid in the RETREG1 protein.
Okay.
And this means that this specific amino acid is the same across various species, from dogs to humans,
Wow.
which suggests that it plays a crucial role in the protein's function.
So altering this amino acid could have significant consequences.
Precisely. And that's what we're seeing in these dogs with HSANs.
So to explore the prevalence of this variant a bit further, they went beyond that initial group of dogs.
They did. They analyzed a much larger database, looking at data from over 880,000 dogs from various breeds.
And what did this broader analysis reveal?
Well, they found the variant in a small percentage of dogs, but all the dogs that were homozygous for the variant, meaning they had 2 copies of the variant gene, had German Spitz ancestry.
So even across all those breeds, it still came back to that.
It did. This finding provides even more evidence that this specific RETREG1 variant is closely linked to HSANs in German Spitz dogs.
That's really compelling evidence. So what are the practical implications of all this? What does it mean for German Spitz breeders and owners?
Well, this research paves the way for developing a genetic test, specifically for this RETREG1 variant in German Spitz and related breeds.
Okay.
And this is huge.
That could be a game changer.
Absolutely. Breeders can use this information to make informed decisions, preventing the condition from being passed down to future generations.
And early diagnosis means that vets can start managing the condition earlier, which could lead to better outcomes for the dogs.
Precisely. But there's still so much more to uncover.
Okay.
This study primarily focused on German Spitz, but could other dog breeds be susceptible to different RETREG1 mutations? And what does that mean for canine health more broadly?
Yeah, that's the crux of the matter, isn't it?
Yeah.
We focused on German Spitz dogs, but it makes you wonder about the bigger picture.
Exactly. This study opens up a whole new avenue for research in canine genetics.
Speaking of research, you mentioned that the scientists analyzed a massive database of dog DNA. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. They looked at data from over 880,000 dogs, representing a variety of different breeds. And they were specifically looking to identify dogs that were homozygous for the RETREG1 variant,
Okay.
meaning they carried 2 copies of the mutated gene.
And this was across different breeds?
Yes. But what they found was very interesting. All of the dogs that were homozygous for the variant had German Spitz ancestry.
So even though they were different breeds, they all trace back to German Spitz lineage at some point.
Exactly. And this finding further strengthens that link between this specific RETREG1 variant and German Spitz dogs.
It seems like this research has some pretty significant implications, not just for understanding the disease, but also for breeders and veterinarians.
Absolutely. One of the most practical outcomes of this research is the potential for developing a genetic test, specifically for this RETREG1 variant in German Spitz and related breeds.
And that could really be a game changer for breeders.
Definitely breeders could use this test to screen their dogs and make informed decisions about breeding pairs, potentially preventing this condition from being passed down to future generations.
And for vets, early diagnosis through genetic testing could be incredibly helpful too.
Right. Absolutely. Early diagnosis means earlier intervention, and better management of the condition, which can ultimately lead to a better quality of life for affected dogs.
It seems like this research is highlighting the power of genetic testing and its potential to improve canine health in a really tangible way. But knowing what we know now about this link between HSN in dogs and humans, what are the potential implications for human health?
That's a great question. The fact that mutations in the RETREG1 gene can cause similar conditions in both humans and dogs opens up some exciting possibilities for collaborative research.
So what you're saying is, by studying these canine cases, we might gain valuable insights into how to diagnose, treat, and even prevent HSN in humans.
Precisely. This kind of comparative medicine research, where we learn from both animal and human patients, has the potential to be incredibly beneficial for both species.
It's fascinating how much we can learn from each other across species. So with all this new knowledge about RETREG1 and its link to HSAN, where do we go from here? What are the next steps in this genetic detective story?
Well, there are several avenues for future research. First, it would be valuable to investigate the prevalence of the specific RETREG1 variant in other German Spitz varieties and related breeds worldwide.
So expanding the scope of the research to get a more global perspective.
Exactly. Second, further research is needed to explore whether other mutations in RETREG1 or even mutations in different genes could be contributing to HNMs in other dog broods.
So are we essentially looking at a potential family of genes related to this condition?
That's a possibility. HSAN is a complex group of disorders with various genetic causes, so it wouldn't be surprising if other genes are involved.
And this takes us back to your point earlier about expanding research beyond German Spitz dogs.
Yes. Investigating other breeds with HNMs could uncover new genetic culprits and further our understanding of the disease's complexity.
And potentially lead to the development of more targeted therapies.
Precisely. Another important area for future research is exploring the specific mechanisms by which the RETREG1 mutation leads to the development of HSANs.
So diving deeper into that cellular and molecular level to understand how this genetic flaw actually causes the disease.
Exactly. Understanding these mechanisms could pave the way for developing more effective treatments, not just for dogs, but potentially for humans as well.
It seems like this one research study has opened up a Pandora's box of questions and possibilities.
It certainly has, and that's the beauty of scientific discovery. It often raises more questions than it answers, propelling us further down the path of knowledge.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
This research has highlighted a specific genetic variant in the RETREG1 gene that's strongly associated with HNMs in German Spitz dogs.
And this discovery has significant implications for breeders, veterinarians, and potentially even human health.
Indeed. It underscores the importance of genetic research in understanding and combating inherited diseases, and the incredible potential of collaborative research across species.
It's a powerful reminder that the health of our animal companions is intricately linked to our own, and that by working together, we can unlock new frontiers in medicine and improve the lives of both humans and animals.
From Vet Neuro Jar, keep those minds inspired, hearts light, and tails wagging.
You know, it's amazing to think this research started with just a single case study of a German Spitz.
Yeah.
And now it's opened up so many avenues for exploration.
It really does. It highlights how one case, it can spark a chain reaction of discoveries. And that can potentially impact, countless lives, both canine and human.
It really makes you think. And it brings us back to the importance of genetic testing, something we've talked about a lot during this deep dive.
Yeah, genetic testing. It plays such a crucial role in understanding and managing inherited diseases like HNMs.
For breeders, it's such a powerful tool to help make those informed decisions about breeding pairs.
Exactly.
And potentially prevent the transmission of genetic conditions to future generations.
Right.
And for vets, genetic testing can be so valuable for early diagnosis and intervention.
Yeah.
Leading to better outcomes for affected dogs.
Absolutely.
This research has really shown the importance of collaboration across different fields.
For sure. We've seen how geneticists, veterinarians, even human medical researchers, they can all work together to unravel the mysteries of these complex diseases like HSAN.
It speaks to the power of interdisciplinary research and how it can lead to breakthroughs that benefit both animals and humans.
Definitely. And this study is a perfect example of how studying these naturally occurring diseases in animals can provide valuable insights into human health.
It's a good reminder that we're all interconnected, in this web of life.
Yeah.
And that by studying and learning from each other, we can really make significant strides in medicine and improve the well-being of all creatures.
Well said. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of canine genetics and HNMs, I want to leave you with a thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
This research, it focused on one specific gene, RETREG1.
Right.
But what other genetic secrets are out there waiting to be uncovered? What other connections between canine and human health remain to be explored?
That's a really great point. It's a reminder that there's still so much we don't know, and that the pursuit of knowledge is an ongoing journey.
From Vet Neurojar, keep those minds inspired, hearts light, and tails wagging.